We begin with a gorgeous girl named So-jung rushing back home, leaving work in the middle. When she arrives home, the housemaids begin to protest about her mother's messiness. After dealing with that crisis, she returned to work late at night and apologized to her boss, Seung-jae. He loudly yells at her for showing up late and swiftly accuses her of working for another bakery since her clothes are filthy. So-jung refuses the allegations and apologizes again. Seung-jae is a selfish and arrogant boss. Rather than listening to her, he punishes her for cleaning the entire bakery alone. She bursts into tears, but that arrogant man shows no sign of sympathy. Even a coworker confides to him that she has too many issues to handle at home. While cleaning, she discovered her boss already cleaned the kitchen. Her coworker mocks that. What's the point of yelling at her if he has already done it? She then starts preparing the ingredients for tomorrow's business day. While working, the night gets stormier and rainy. She suddenly noticed someone had entered the bakery. It turned out an old lady had arrived who was drenched in the rain. So-jung first informs her that they are closed for the day, but she allows her to stay owing to the heavy rain. Young then offers her a bite to eat. The older woman thanks her for being so kind, and Young then returns to work. So-jung comes after a bit and learns that the old lady has departed but has left a book and a letter on the table, with the note stating that she is lending this book to assist her. She read the title of the book, Are You in Love? So-jung flips the page, and the book claims to provide the answer to any love-related problem. Consequently, So-jung holds the book, wondering whether she will ever fall in love. She then switches to the following page and learns that a few guys are going to ask her out soon. She got confused and believed it to be one of the wisdom books. At that moment, Seung-jae appears and asks why she is still here. He instructs her to go home and read the book there because she is costing him electricity. She gathered her items, turned off the lights, and headed out. Seung-jae offers her a ride to her house. So-jung is shocked to learn how a selfish individual can suddenly become kind. Before she believes anything, Seung-jae claims he is doing this to avoid paying workers' compensation. Seung-jae drops her near the house. While walking home, So-jung's new neighbor asks if she has a boyfriend. She responded no, and he asked for her cell number. She refuses him and rushes home. Upon reaching home, her housemate informs her she is quitting the job because of her mother's dementia problem, and she is giving her a tough time. So-jung desperately begs her to stay, and she consents to her request. The following morning, another guy approaches her, compliments her on her beauty, and asks for her phone number, claiming to have a crush on her. Later, a customer approaches her in the cafe and invites her on a date. As a result, Young and her coworker are taken aback. He begins flirting with her in front of her employer and even hands her a business card before departing. Her coworkers suspect him of being a con artist since he falls in love with her at first sight. Upon hearing this, So-jung claims she had been getting several proposals for a few days. However, no one didn't believe her claims. She becomes enraged by their behavior and goes to the kitchen to make pastries. After a while, Seung-jae shows up and tastes the pastry. He criticized it and encouraged her to put more effort into her career than relationships. So-jung gets depressed because he never appreciates even how hard she tries. When she returned home, her housemaid greeted and encouraged her to rest. Instead of relaxing, she quickly pulls out the book and inquires about the authenticity of the confessions. She turns to a random page, indicating that the truth will be revealed when the darkness is lifted. The following day, So-jung brings some dessert for sampling but witnesses Seung-jae having a good time in his office with a beautiful girl named Anna. She becomes envious and quickly returns to the kitchen. She notices a coworker dozing off and vents her rage by shouting at him. That evening, everyone visits a bar and gets drunk except the boss. While intoxicated, So-jung confesses she is in love with someone who already has a partner. At that moment, a guy approaches her and asks her out, but she declines him by stating she has someone else in her mind. Seung-jae witnesses the entire scene. After a while, they head out, and Seung-jae drives her home. In the car, So-jung tells him he is mean and arrogant. She then grabs his picture and reveals her desire that she wants him. She wakes up the next morning with a severe hangover, having Seung-jae's picture in her palm. The housemaid shows up and informs her that her boss has dropped her off at home. So-jung gets embarrassed when he hears this and realizes it's too late for work. She quickly prepares herself. While she is on her way to work, the housemaid brings her a piece of cake and tells her that her mother baked it the day before because she was feeling better. Young tried it, and it was too amazing. She also told her about her mother's recipe, which So-jung was missing in her cakes. Later, she baked the cake at work using the same recipe. When Seung-jae shows up, he samples the cake and declares it delicious. This is the first time Seung-jae appreciates her and orders her to serve this delicious cake to the clients. So-jung is quite excited after hearing his remarks. After that, a delivery was made to the eatery, which So-jung accepted and brought to Seung-jae's office. She overhears Jae and Anna arguing. She learns that Anna is moving to the USA for 2 years to pursue further education. After hearing that, So-jung gets excited and departs. She then makes a story to seek advice from a colleague that her friend's girlfriend is going away for 2 years. The coworker informs her that a long-distance relationship never works and they will end up broken soon. That evening, Seung-jae offers her a ride to her home since he is going in the same direction. Nonetheless, So-jung swiftly declines the offer due to last night's hangover blunder. Despite hesitating, he instructs her to follow him and load her bicycle in the jeep. He then instructs her to get in the car. Anna appears out of nowhere and sits inside the car before So-jung. Seung-jae asks Anna to leave because he is still angry with her. On the other hand, Anna insists on going out to drink to conclude their talk. So-jung stepped in and requested to stop fighting since they loved each other. Before they put an end to her agony by revealing that they are not lovers, Young walks away on foot. After a few blocks of walking, she realized her bicycle was missing. Young then turns around and observes Seung-jae's car parked near the bar. She tried to pull out the bicycle from the car, but unfortunately, the alarm triggered, and she swiftly ran away. While she sleeps, the doorbell rings in the middle of the night. It turned out that Seung-jae was drunk and was driven to her door by a cab driver. So-jung covered Jae's bill because he didn't have any cash. Seung-jae then invites her on a date, alleging that the other guys who proposed to her are cheaters. So-jung becomes annoyed, believing that since Anna dumped him, he is using her as a substitute to cope with the grief. She turned down his proposition and shut the door on him. However, Seung-jae gave her 2 days to consider his proposal. The following morning, she noticed her bicycle outside, with its basket filled with flyers. She tosses the flyers in the garbage and rides her bike to work. On the way, she discovers that the guy who proposed to her earlier is now attempting to propose to another girl. When she arrives at the bakery, she notices her coworkers enjoying the limited edition cake she baked the day before. Young got angry with them, but they stated that they assumed she made it for them because the boss was eating to get rid of a hangover this morning. Upon hearing this, she heads upstairs and finds the lovely couple eating cake. When Anna requests that she bring one more piece of cake, Young refuses and storms out of Jae's office. She then noticed the customer who had earlier asked her out having fun with another girl in the cafe. It appeared that Seung-jae was correct in accusing them of being cheaters. When So-jung returns home that night, her neighbor and his companion rage at her for tossing their flyers in the trash. They then compel her to purchase their merchandise. In the meantime, Seung-jae arrives to save her from the crooks. They got into a heated debate, and it escalated into a fight. Consequently, she quickly called the police and asked for help. The following morning, when she walks out of her house, she sees Seung-jae waiting for her to pick her up. She is surprised to see him, and he urges her to hop in. Then he transports her to the cafe. Later, So-jung takes a look at the mystery book and observes that unusual things have been happening since she had it. So she turns one of the pages, and it says that if you take one step forward, the person will be right behind you. Young closes her eyes and follows the instructions in the mystery book. Seung-jae touched her shoulder at that precise moment to ask if the dishes had been finished. She dropped the book out of fear and ran away. Jae then picks up the mysterious book and reads the text that he has fallen in love with that person. After that, while working, So-jung was so engrossed in her thoughts that she forgot she had left something on the burner, resulting in a fire. She becomes terrified and pleads for help, and Seung-jae appears swiftly to assist her. He advised her to go outside. He then attempts to put out the fire, which renders him unconscious. So-jung asks Anna to accompany him in the ambulance, and Anna consents. While waiting at the hospital, she realizes that all the statements in the book are almost true. Shortly after, Seung-jae shows up. She becomes emotional, apologizes, and begins to cry. She is comforted by Seung-jae, who also asks what she thinks of his proposal. Anna arrives before she can say anything and offers them a ride home. Young declines the offer, explaining that she needs fresh air to clear her thoughts. Once So-jung returns to the cafe, she learns that Anna is the twin sister of the boss and he has liked So-jung for quite a long time. She is surprised to hear that because she thought negatively about him too much. That night, she couldn't sleep, so she read the book, which stated that she should take some time before making a decision. The next morning, Jae was eagerly waiting for her. As she arrives, he inquires her thoughts about his proposal. So-jung responds she is taking her time to consider it. Jae becomes irritated and inquires whether she is a pressure cooker or a fool. Young responds, perhaps, and walks away. Afterward, Anna speaks with her and tells her that Seung-jae will miss an opportunity to give a barista lecture in Japan because he is worried Young will find someone else in his absence. Anna also recommended that she attend a dessert school in Japan for 3 months to 2 years of advanced training. Furthermore, Seung-jae will be in Japan for 6 months, giving them ample time to get to know one another. After that, she opened the book to make the appropriate decision, but sadly, all the content had mysteriously vanished. She panics because she is completely reliant on the book. Meanwhile, a Japanese representative arrived, and Seung-jae asked her to bring her best limited edition cake and banana cake for sampling. After tasting her cake, the official claimed Anna's advice was precise, and he quickly handed over her acceptance letter. Seung-jae and So-jung expressed gratitude for the opportunity. However, due to her sick mother, she declined this opportunity and headed out to clear her head. A lightning strikes while sitting outside, and she recalls the old lady. Young rushes inside the cafe to search for the enigmatic book. At that moment, Seung-jae informed her that the old lady had taken the book she had lent her to read. Another catastrophe occurs before she can recover from the first trauma. The housemaid informs her that her mother has gone missing, and she has also reported it to the police. Later, she discovers her mother in an embarrassing state in her cafe. Seung-jae offered to drive them home, but she declined out of embarrassment and went away with her mother. The following morning, Young announced her resignation and said that although she once had confidence, things had changed now. Even though she loves him but cannot stand to look into his face now that she is broken, she doesn't want sympathy from him. Seung-jae refused to accept her resignation. Instead, he informs her that he is departing for Japan the next day and demands that she look after his cafe while he is gone. So Young continued working at the cafe for another 6 months. One day, she overhears Anna talking to her colleague about Seung-jae has returned home but not coming to work. As a result, that night, she heads to Seung-jae's house and tucks the resignation letter under the door. Seung-jae spotted her leaving his house through the window. The following day, as she prepares to go to work, she discovers the enigmatic book in her bicycle basket. So-jung reads the book and rushes to the cafe. There, she finds Seung-jae waiting for her. He informs her that he cannot accept her resignation and inquires whether she is still unhappy seeing him in the cafe. So-jung didn't say anything, instead giving him a charming smile. Seung-jae realized what that meant and quickly pulled her in and embraced her. So that was Are We in Love? If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and turn on the notification so you won't miss the next recap. Until then, cheers!